we go. I'm gonna turn this up. My headlight on as well. Actually, I'm a little bit late for my regular stream time. I'm still in our hour, right? And we're going to have a long stream today, so I feel it's all fair game. I can say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to bring ourselves to this present moment. And then today's stream topic is self sensitivity. All right. You ever think about self sensitivity? And you're like, I don't know what self sensitivity is, Melt. What does that mean, even? Good question. Self sensitivity, to me at least, means knowing things about yourself, right? That when you wake up in the morning, you know how you usually feel. And then if you don't feel that way, you have the sensitivity to detect what's going on. I would like to develop enough self sensitivity so I know exactly what's going on first thing in the morning, right? Know why it is my head is hurting a little bit. I felt like I was dehydrated this morning a bit. We are still kind of like recovering from being sick for the last few days. And I feel like I have this kernel of like stuckness in the back of my brain a little bit that I'm sensitive to right now a little bit. And then there is a few conversations me and Joe has had recently about yoga, right? And about the way in which practices or poses kind of like feel in your body and the like right way to do it, right? The form that is required to practice in a way that you're expected to, and almost like this self sensitivity of knowing how it is your body wants to move. All right, today is Wednesday, so we'll be dancing, and I can definitely feel my self sensitive to all of the movement that is to come. My body feels a little bit heavy today, just so you did. Let's hope this coffee helps. Self sensitivity, that's what I've been working on the last few years, Sam says. Why am I pissy? Why do I crave only chocolate and violence? The answer seems to be Sam needs more coffee and ADHD medication. Yeah, I'm like on the coffee train right now. I do have a prescription for ADHD medication. I don't know if it counts or if it's valid here in South Africa. I'll probably have to go to a doctor again. But back in South Africa, I've been diagnosed with ADHD since I was a little kid. Since I was a teenager. Well, since before that, technically. Right? My grandma wanted to put me on ADHD medication since I was a toddler. But my mom was like, mm-mm. And then when I got to high school, and I was still passing, but I was passing basically by osmosis, right? I would sit in class and be like, uh-huh. And then I would go and write my tests with that level of exposure to the information. And again, I would still get like C's, you know, sometimes I'd be lucky enough to get a B. I was never an A student. So in my last years, he put me on ADHD medication as well. And it's interesting that we bring this kind of conversation into mind, Sam, because during that time of my life, I didn't have, I would say, any self-sensitivity, right? Because I was taking these medications and I was like, this is doing nothing. It's doing nothing to me. That's literally the way I articulate it. It's like, this is doing nothing to me. Little did I know that that's what ADHD medication is supposed to do when you're ADHD. It's not supposed to do something. It's supposed to just make you feel normal. And that's what it did. I was like, I just feel normal. All right. I just feel like I can function like a normal human being. And I'm like, this sucks. I thought I was supposed to function like a superhuman being. Where's all of So at that point in my life, I didn't have the self sensitivity to understand what it was doing for me. I will learn though. Good morning, BSF, and Turanu. You are so long vertically, handsome man. I am pretty long vertically. It is true. I have some vertical length. Thank you. I appreciate you talking about it. Or just don't know how to calm down. That definitely did have a lot of to do with it as well. You're completely right, healthy one. Not knowing how to calm down. I think I knew how to calm down. I just didn't know how to care. I think that was like my biggest gripe slash drawback. It's like I could be calm. I just couldn't care about the stuff that they were trying to teach me. The only class, and this was my class that I was like getting B's in, that I cared about, really cared about, was IT, and we call it technische tekeningen. Draftsman drawing, where they would teach you how to draw like perspective drawings, like buildings and gears, and getting those gears to mesh with each other in your drawings, and being given a perspective and then being asked to draw the other perspectives of that image. Like that stuff, I was like, I can pay attention to this. And I did really good at it. I think that's also a part of it. Whereas like my specific brain chemistry, I guess, was very much aligned with that way of learning. However, the rest of it, couldn't find myself caring, right? But I think you might be right as well, that was not calm. I'm like saying, I could calm down. I don't think I did. I don't think there was any calm in me. I think it was just crazy, like nonstop. Zzz, zzz, ADHD, ADHD. And we had cell phones during that era as well already. So every second that I could get to not pay attention to class, I took. Right, I was literally doing research on Dota, like reading freaking the lore of items instead of paying attention to my chemistry classes. Right, and again, chemistry was also one of those classes where my chemistry I did really well in, but my physics I did not. In physics, I would get like, I think D's, and then I would get like B's in my chemistry, and it would average out to like close to a C. Yeah, maybe I think I would do better if I went back to school now. Of course, I think many people would probably feel that way, but I probably would still not care. TBH. Maybe I will be able to lock in and be like, oh, okay, I could care. I could care about this, and that. But how was school for you? Did you have self sensitivity? When? Maybe this is a good question to ask our community, in the space right now. When did you start to develop self sensitivity? Are you still? I think Sam shared the fact that she feels she's still doing the development of self sensitivity. I don't think it's something that ever really ends. It's going to be a lot of work, becoming sensitive of yourself. And I think there's also so many variables we add onto our existence, right? The foods we eat, the literal outside world, right? The changing seasons, the pollen load, the etc., etc., etc. So many things influencing how we feel as a self. I'm trying to really establish like a kernel of truth in myself, where it's like, am I supposed to know myself? Is there some aspects of myself that I can become sensitive to that remain unaffected by my environment, right? In my yoga class, I do the exact same asanas every single day, right? And I've been doing the exact same asanas for like 1,500 days straight. So in that way, that practice has allowed me significant amount of fidelity in self-sensitivity, where I can very closely monitor how it is my body adjusts. Right. For instance, me and Joe started doing like 200 squats a day. It hurts. That's what the sensitivity of self taught me today, where I was like, my legs are hurting. And I was like instantly scared to come and dance today, where I was like, if my legs are hurting just doing like some yoga poses, like what is going to happen to me if I start dancing? Dan says, self-sensitivity. Nah, man, I won't be sensitive because I don't have to. I'm an American. Yeah. Even if the facts are presented to me in a way that I can understand them, still I won't change my mind because I too am American. I don't take ADHD medication because they don't have a suppository version. Taking ADHD medication through your ass, or why? Why are you like this? I am you diagnosed, but almost certainly I am not diagnosed, but almost certainly ADHD. I'm hyperactive as fuck. Yeah, I finally busted out my mocha pot and made espresso to go in my coffee this morning. I am the embodiment of zoomies. Yeah, Sam did mention that she's been caffeinating herself and getting shit done in the house, cleaning and kind of like making some plans. I don't know if you know this, Sam. If you need to know this, maybe you need to know this. Maybe it's gonna give some vindication, some sensitivity of self, accentuation, or something. Did you know that coffee is actually neuroprotective? That when you drink 2 to 3 cups a day, it reduces your all-cause mortality. It reduces your likelihood of developing neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or dementia. Isn't that neat? I think that's pretty cool. I'm not drinking close to 3 cups a day. This is basically the volume of coffee I consume in a day. And then I stop. And then I stop. You are so long vertically, handsome man. Thanks. Thank you. Yo, yo, yo. What are you scarfing today? Today we're scarfing self-sensitivity. I think it's one of those topics that I would love to really go in depth with, but it's almost impossible for me to say anything that's going to be 100% relatable to you, because how you have become sensitive of yourself is going to be different to the ways in which I'm sensitive to myself. All right. And I would love to hear, right? That's, I think, again, for me, the real question or curiosity in this conversation is the when. When is it that you started developing a sensitivity for yourself? And I'm not saying to be sensitive as yourself, all right? To when someone says something mean to you to be like, all right? But to instead have almost like a resolution, right? Have high resolution in what it is that's going on inside your own system, all right? In the same way, you can click the buttons on your YouTube stream sometimes or YouTube video, and you can like make the quality go higher and you can make the quality go lower, right? How can we improve the resolution with which we are sensitive to ourselves, our inner selves? And when, if at all, does that happen? Have you started that process? I am curious, is that a Gabs? My brain is hyperactive, as is my butt. We do fart. Yeah, it's been a pretty much running joke. I've been farting way more since I come to America. I don't know why. I think it must be the food that you have here. I think it's the protein bars I'm eating. TMI. Yeah, telling me to calm down usually doesn't help. And also maybe I don't want to be calm. Have you considered it? Yeah. How about that? How about you telling me to be calm has now informed myself that, in fact, calm is the opposite of what I want. My brain is hyperactive. We love you, Gabs. It's nice having you. Darren, here with us too. I would win the tickle battle. My sensitivity is dysfunctional. Tickle battles. I have 2 states of myself. The one state is the state that wants to break your nose when you tickle me. And the other state is the state that pretends that it's not happening while I want to break your nose. What was it like growing up in South Africa? What was it like growing up in South Africa? Rough. It's pretty rough. Rough for the most part. I have always been strange, to say in so many words, right? I remember very viscerally being seen in a certain way by my school peers, right? During that time, people still believed that kids get hyper when you give them sugar or when you give them rooikoeldrank. That's the Afrikaans for like red drink, where it's essentially just like some of that red dye, that red food dye, probably one of the toxic ones, which I can't imagine is good for a child, but that and sugar and water and carbonation, maybe, right? And there was this almost census, general understanding that if a child drinks that stuff, they act in a certain way. And I, from that age, right, since I came to school, was told that I am a rooikoeldrank kind, right? That I am one of those kids that seem to act in ways which the the soda allows, kind of thing, right? And then I kind of like leaned into it, I feel a little bit, where when I realized that I was perceived in a certain way, it's almost like I took it on as a little bit of a character trait, right? In my sensitivity of self, I was like, people think I'm like this. I can be like that, I guess. And then I did kind of lean into that character. But when I was outside of the public eye, there was this secondary weird state of mind, right? Where I would think about things that I feel was not normal to think about, right? I would think about the the dirt that I was walking on, right? And I would fantasize about being able to see underneath me, to see what the rocks look like, to see what the dirt looks like, to see what layers there are, to see the way trees and their root systems penetrate into, right? I wanted to have access to that information, but because I didn't have the sensors, I had to use my imagination. And I would do this thing where if I was alone, and I would take the opportunity a lot to ask my teachers to let me go to the bathroom. I tried to go to the bathroom every class because they let me. And then I would just have the goodest time. I would walk slow because the bathrooms in my primary school was basically on the other side of the school, right? We would have like a big, whatchamacallit, gathering space on this side of the school. Then there was building. Then there was paths. Then there was the school hall, the enclosed school hall where the ceremonies and stuff happened. And then there was big swath. And then there was tuck shop. And then on the other side of that was the bathrooms. So I would, during my classes, just like walk these paths, as long a path as I could to get to the bathroom, right? And I would like be able to cut 5 to 10 minutes sometimes off my class time. And then during those times, I would just go into these thoughts, right? Where I would fantasize about almost like powers in so many words, right? Fantasize about capabilities that my human being will not have or doesn't have at that point of its existence. And then in these imaginings, in these ways of thinking, almost thinking in a way that seemed alien to the people around me, when I would articulate these thoughts, they would be shocked, or not shocked maybe, as caught off guard, right? Like, where did that come from? Like, why are you thinking that kind of thing? And because that was the projection I was getting from my peers, like, why are you thinking that? Why are you thinking that? Like, that's a strange thing to think. What made you think of that? Nah, 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 nah. I started believing that my thoughts were alien, right? That they weren't normal thoughts to have. And then with that, I would almost extend my imagination into believing that I'm going to come and get abducted. Maybe abducted is the wrong word, but I would hear helicopters fly over my head, and I would come to the conclusion that surely they're coming for me. They must be coming for me. I'm sure they're gonna come and get me now any second. Right? And I remember those thoughts. I remember holding those thoughts so certainly, right? And then the time will pass, and then the thought will lose its quality of significance, and then I would go on with my experience, right? So like that was like a small microcosm of what it was like growing up in South Africa. Like I don't think I could have grown up anywhere where I would have been considered normal. I think that was the biggest thing for me. So that part of it was rough, right? Like kids did not want to play with me because of the kind of things that I got up to, right? The kind of conversations that I wanted to have was not the average conversation a child was kind of like into. I remember trying to get into a little friend group at one point, and I don't know if it was just the circumstance of that specific conversation, but it kind of like completely ruined my perception, right, of being in a friend group like that, where I was one of those kids that would draw during my school breaks, either draw or read, or play with objects, right? Like either what do you call them, marbles or spinning tops, right? There was always a culture of, or stickers. I had a sticker gathering era as well, right? And then during that time, during like my initial time in that new school, I tried to integrate with a group of like other boys, and then we were having conversations, and the conversation led us to this place of talking about our dads, right? And it was just this one upping of like my dad, manene manene, and this guy's like, oh, my dad, like so and so. And it got to the point where one of them literally said, my dad has like an F-35 fighter jet, right? And like even at that age, at like 7 years old, this guy says his dad is an F-35 fighter jet, and I go, no, he doesn't. And like, I don't know if it was one of those things. He was the most popular kid in the group, right? But I don't think he's been challenged like that. Where I go, no. I don't know if I knew the price of those things at that point, but I had some sort of logic to be like, nah, I don't believe you. I don't think your dad does have an F-35 fighter jet. I don't think so. Right? And then they annexed me. They kicked me out of their friend group because I dared challenge the popular kid telling us that his dad has an F-35. Right? And I was like, what? Like I what? Like literally it like messed with my complete childhood perspective of I, one, talk about weird stuff. Two, when I'm in friend groups, we talk about, at least for me at that point, almost like stuff outside of ourselves as it related to, right, like the ego projection of like every kid wants to believe their dad is cool kind of thing. And then if I challenged, right, the truth statements, if I challenged the the conversation, right, I would be asked to leave, right? So it felt to me as a very young age that either I can believe the things that I believe, or I can believe the things the group believes, right? And if I believe the things that I believe and I stand up for the truth in that way, then it would make me a social pariah. And I, at that point, came to the conclusion that I'd rather not. I would rather not be friends with people that lie, I said to myself, because that's what it was for me. I grew up in a very Christian household, and lying from a very young age is like the big bad that you can do as a kid, where I never got away. Did I? I don't think I got away much by lying, right? I think my dad was also very self-sensitive, let's say. So he could like easily detect when a lie was being told. So I didn't get away with it, and he'd be very vocal about how unacceptable that is, right? And then suddenly I find myself in a social situation outside of my family, and I felt the same kind of indication of like, nope, these people are liars, and I do not want to be associated with them. So then again, back to self-isolation, reading, drawing, as an experience for myself to have. And then that didn't really change. That didn't really change. I did make friends again when I was in grade 8. Grade 7, we transition from primary school to high school. And then there are these things called School for Wisselungskampen, which actually translates to changing school camp, basically. So I went to changing school camp, and then we were put in these groups, and we were encouraged to make friends and then to compete against the other groups that was in that camp as well. And we would have these activities and different sports, and we would have to build like rafts, and we would have to do obstacle courses, and we would have to do blindfolded shimma shimma stuffy stuffs, right? There was a bunch of stuff that kind of like allowed us to put ourselves in a challenging position. And then luckily I was put in a group with a friend named Heinrich. All right. He's still one of my friends, even though we don't talk that much, unfortunately. I was put in this group with Heinrich, and me and him had like almost like moments of tension. I became a little bit of a bully by the time I was a grade 7, because I started growing when I was 13 to 14, right? So I went from being a kid to being about 2 inches away from my current height, right, as a 13, 14-year-old. So I became like really big really quickly. And like I've said this story, I've told this story before, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that I admire a lot about Heinrich, where he had a friend, Tredu, and Tredu only like hit his growth spurt a little bit later in life, and he was also a very like lean individual. He was like doing karate and stuff like that, so he was very lean, and he would weigh, I think, probably like 90 pounds or something like that when I was 160 at like 14. And then I would just be able to like pick him up off the ground with his school bag and everything, right? And his surname was just before mine, so he would always be standing just in front of me in line. And since I was never calm and always ADHDing, while we were waiting in line to go into the class, I was like, well, guess I could pick up this person in front of me. And he hated it. And I think that's in part why as well, right? I didn't have any friends, right? So him being upset about me picking him up felt like a kind of power, I guess, as a child. So I would keep doing it. And then it got to a point where he was like really not like it didn't happen that many times. It happened like maybe 5 or 6 times, right? And then around the 6th time, he was like really over it. And then he asked one of his friends, who also had a growth spurt early in his life, to defend him, right? And there was almost like this picking a fight with me, right? He was picking a fight with me and then letting me know that we're going to fight at the end of the day. And then he brought over his friend to be the one who fights me, right? And instead of fighting, right, when we came together like that, Heinrich said the words, like, I don't even remember exactly what words he said, right? But he basically made it clear that Tredu is not as big and strong as I am, and he is. And he's willing to stand up for his friend. All right? I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Okay. And it took me by surprise, right? Because with my personal journey of growing up, I was bullied a lot for the way that I engage with the world. My fascination with information was something that I was made fun of a lot for. I was considered nerd or geek back in school, right? So I was made fun of in that way. I was made fun of for being, I don't know if they knew they were making fun of me for it, but they made fun of me for being on the spectrum kind of thing. And it completely diffused the situation, right? Because I legit didn't know that was possible, kind of thing. Nobody had ever stood up for me when people were mean to me, kind of thing. Because again, as a kid, if you stand up for one of the kids that's getting bullied, you basically put yourself in the spotlight to get bullied as well, right? And he did. He put himself in the way of a bully, me, right? And again, I was bullying because I was bullied as well. So, not trying to excuse my own actions, but trying to see it as a pattern that was perpetuated. And then that friend broke that pattern. And we didn't get to be friends, obviously, because he's friends with the guy that I was bullying. But I gained a significant amount of admiration for him as a person. And then we were put in a group together during that school changing camp. And I felt that was the opportunity to make that friend, right? That was the first time that I had set out with the intention to make a friend, because I value their character. And we did become friends. I became friends with Tredu, even, right? That in high school, I would go to his house and we would watch anime together and Supernatural, and we would eat cheese sandwiches, right? So because of Heinrich, me and this person that I was being mean to became friends, right? At the other side of that experience, right? He literally transformed that entire energy between us. And it was a lot easier during that part of my life to be a little bit more accepted, because they were also nerds. Even though Heinrich was a rugby player as well, he still liked playing games. He's a computer scientist now, like a really good one, like a really, really good computer scientist. His wife is also a computer scientist. They met each other at university in class, and then they basically like started up their relationship really early on, and then they pushed each other to be the top of the class, where she would be top of class, and then he would be top of class, and then she would be top of class, and he would be top of class. And I think they ended their year, both of them as valedictorians, right? And both of them got a job at the same company even as well, so they drive the same car to work. What a dude. What an absolute like legend of a person. And you know, I got to like spend time with those friends, right? With the computer nerds, because that's what I was. And it made my high school a lot easier. But it didn't really stop the meanness, right? Like we were still being made fun of for being the computer nerds, but at least we were being made fun of as a group instead of as an individual, right? And in that way, we felt a lot of vindication even. Like we felt strong as a unit for being the computer kids. right? That's a big, long answer to you asking me what was it like growing up in South Africa. That was basically what it was like, right? It was a learning experience. And I don't think it's going to be that different depending on where you are in the world. I think for me, that's the real lesson that I'm supposed to absorb is that I did grow up where I was supposed to, right? Everything I experienced was formative. Hello, casual communicators. Hello. Hello, hoopty hoops. How you doing, bro? If you come from a dysfunctional home, it's likely you're still working on self-sensitivity, as those types of situations can actively discourage knowing what's going on with your body. It is true. You can be so caught up in the external world of like, what's the thing we're fighting about now, right? What are we screaming about? That you can't even take a moment to really think about what's happening inside your body, right? How your nervous system is being tweaked, activated by something. And it's a lifelong thing for sure. Dan is hilarious. That is. He really is funny. Good morning, like the ADHD suppository. I mean, I think it would be better. TBH, I think I don't know about better about absorption, right? I'm no scientist, but when it comes to like the addictive nature of it, if you had to put something up your ass in order to get your ADHD medication, I'm sure less people would be super stoked about taking it every day, all the time. Good morning, Gavin and ones. Hoop the hoops. Hope you're well. Yep, that's why I drink 3 cups of coffee a day. It's for my long-term health. Yeah, of course. Yes, that's exactly why we're doing it. It's not because we love it. Nope. It's because it's long-term health. Like, it's true though. It is true. And I know Gabby Goo is like a coffee aficionado. I wanted to say snob, but snob is negative connotations. He's an aficionado. Yes. I did know that about coffee. It's lucky it does that because my grandma ended up getting Alzheimer's towards the end. But she lived to like 96. You don't expect people that old to be with it. I'm happy that she was. One big thing as well is like how we sit, right? Like you friends will see, I do sit with my legs crossed, even when I do sit on chairs, because that's a big thing as well, right? The hip flexibility and mobility needs to stay there too. I'm almost like trying to like ask you, was your grandma a floor sitter? Does she sit on the floor sometimes? Let me know. I'm not a big coffee fan myself. Do you love coffee? How much coffee did you say you eat today? Combat journeys, making me aware of the fact that I eat liquids. Stop. Stop looking at me like that, damn it. I eat 1 cup. It's basically like, I think 400 milliliters. Does this thing say? No. No, it does not say. Bummer. I think it's about 500 milliliters of coffee a day. So it is basically 2 cups, I think, that I'm drinking. Yeah, that's why. And it's definitely not because the cats are awake, doing acrobatic shit on my face at 3 in the morning. Hello. FD Sam, that's so awesome about your grandma. I don't drink coffee because they don't have a suppository. Like, that's gonna be the new line, right? Like, if you don't want to do anything, right? I don't like cutting grass because cutting grass doesn't come in a suppository for shit. I don't feel the need to jump on the praise coffee bandwagon at this time, thanks. I'm not praising coffee. We were just kind of like talking about the fact that if you are consuming 3 cups a day and you're like, oh, I'm killing myself by all the coffee I'm drinking, science says, no, you're not, actually, which is great. We love that. Nice clothing style. What's that? This is a t-shirt, right? As buttons. This is a scarf. And this is a pair of pants, we call it. I'm not sure exactly what you're supposed to call them. Hammer pants, uh, haram, haram pants. They're pants. They keep my legs covered. But thank you. I hope you're still here, All Might. I do like the way I dress too. It's been a personal style development for a while. Actually, I'm wrong. There is such a thing as a coffee enema. It's true. I've heard about this too. I think I heard about it uh, when I played GTA as a kid, where I was listening to the GTA radio, and the radio host on GTA talked about people getting coffee enemas, and I was like, is that true? Is that true? Are people actually doing that, or is it just a GTA thing? You ever heard of Poncho? No. It really is too. A lot of my family members on that side are long lived. Them Scandinavian genes, I guess. Indian thing? I mean, I think there's probably some Indian inspiration, but I have been like my pants, for example, are literally from India. If you were wondering about that, that is also true. I don't know about this scarf. I think this scarf is from California. I'm pretty sure. It's a gift from Joy Vive. She did get it in California, I think. Is that it? It's not telling me where it's made, bro. Oh, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Bohoj. Such an interesting name for a scarf brand. Boho, and then double capital J. Bohoj. They absolutely have coffee. No, you can find them touted on Instagram by hot wenches. Of course. No. Peppers are like preservative tolerance, boring. Yeah, so is your attempt at trolling. Seriously, you can do better than boring. For me, the best part is the fact that someone thinks that my whole purpose is supposed to entertain them, right? Like, you imagine saying boring to just like a person on the street or whatever, right? Like, maybe it is like, and I'm gonna liken myself to a hobo sitting next to the street, right? Shaking my little can of coins, right? And then maybe I'm like curious, like, yes, what happened to this person? And I sit down and start having a conversation with them, and they start telling me about their life, and I go, boring, stand up and walk away. It's like, you didn't have to do that. You can do something else. You can just stay quiet. You can just stand up and walk away. You don't have to say the boring part out loud. Yes, interesting. We used to think sugar made kids hyper, but really, they were on a euphoria high of sugar. Pretty interesting. That, and there was also, we understand this now, like almost like a rising of consciousness, right? Like kids hype each other up for them to be hype. Hey, Meltmore, how's the stream going? Going well. What is normal thought? Normal thought is almost like the things that people find themselves preoccupied with, right? Like, it's normal to think about the food you're going to eat, and it's normal to think about clothing. It's normal to think about your mom and your dad and your sister and your brother. It's normal to think about the conversations you've had with them. I don't think it's normal to think about the ways in which the earth settle underneath your feet, right? If there are pockets, if there are voids underneath your feet, if there are voids in those pockets underneath your feet, is there something living in those voids? You think there's something living in those voids? I wonder if the trees will grow into those voids, and I wonder if there will be big tree root balls in those voids underneath the ground. I wonder if I will have the powers to control. I wonder if, right? Like, it's like, once you've like had conversations with people that spend a lot of time in normal thought, and you share thoughts that seem not normal, they'll let you know. Oops. They'll be like, I've never thought about that. That doesn't seem like something I've seemed to have come to in my own mind. Sorry, Darren, I don't eat peppers because they don't have a suppository version. Joke's on you. Joke's on you, Dan. All peppers are suppository versions. Some of them are just more convenient than others, right? Oh my goodness. Something, something. I think your butt has a capsaicin receptor. How many bees are in a word story then? Thinking, not normal thoughts. It sounds like how I experience autistic anxiety. Pretty much. Pretty much. I think it was autistic anxiety because, again, there was some anxiousness and like, are there things underneath us? How do we know? How do we know what's underneath us? Do you know what's underneath us? Should we be concerned with what's underneath us? Hello, my hippie brother. Hey, Jadula. It's nice seeing you here again. How are you doing today? Mel, I'm saying I relate. I hope you feel like you're doing good, working this stream. I feel so. Yeah. I'm happy that I told you, friends, a little bit about my past self as well in that way, right? Because I think there is a lot of self sensitivity to be discovered in paying attention to how you've been, to how you've been perceived, to why it is you found yourself where you are right now, kind of thing. Sam, there's Shorting bees and suppository. I don't think it's possible to categorize thoughts as normal versus abnormal, Hoop. They're so wildly subjective and personal. It's true. It's also true. Yeah. Maybe normal or not normal is familiar or unfamiliar, technically. Did you tell him your dad can kick his dad ass? No. Didn't tell them that. But one of them did say that his dad could kick our dad's ass. And his dad was like a bodybuilder. So we were like, probably. Agreed, Sam. We experience between 60 to 90,000 thoughts per day. Most of them we're not even aware of. I think peppers would work then. Might regret it. I love how Darren is like, technically. Technically, if you look at that shape, looks like it could be. Could be functional. Sam, but the autism is what we're talking about. It's the experience of thinking and not understanding communication or the theory of mind stuff. For me, it was my deep fascination with information, right? Where like we could talk about anything. We could like bring some sort of topic into conversation. And instead of just talking about it in itself, I would wanna like be factual or accurate with my words, or I would like bring up quotes, like some sort of information that I read somewhere, kind of thing, and be like, you know, did you know this thing about this thing, right? Because again, I think in my own family unit, maybe without them even realizing, I was trained. I developed the sensitivity to realize that I am seen as more valuable if I come with information, right? If I can give information that is interesting, I felt more valuable as a person. And then that pattern kind of perpetuated into my school life as well. And kids, I don't think the average kid has that kind of metric, right? And then I got made fun of it for it. Are we counting each individual impulse as a separate thought then? Because the sensitivity changes. Sometimes I'm way more aware of my feeling states. I think it's an ebb and flowing thing as well, right? And again, you realizing that there's an ebb and flow in how aware you are of what it is you're feeling, the sensitivities inside the self, that is also a sensitivity, right, that you were developing. I think neuroscientists would consider each sexual impulse a separate thought, Sam. For example, my desire for 80 suppositories versus pepper suppositories are totally separate thoughts. Thank God Melt is human. If he'd said he had a perfect childhood, I might not come back. Yeah, you know what? Actually, my childhood was perfect. Yeah. I can't imagine anything going wrong there. Yeah, it was just wonderful. The whole time, yeah. Hoopy is like, oh, Melt is really crazy. I knew he was like office rocker, but after I just heard him say that, I think he's masking. I think he's masking a lot. I think he might be dangerous. I don't make new friends, Mel. Friends don't come in a suppository version. Then you must be frequenting the wrong bars at night. I see these YouTube trolls need to learn from me. There's a way to do it without being mean. Yeah, Dan is literally a troll. Dan is basically trolling right now, right? But instead of it being like a mean thing, we can laugh together. We can all laugh together about it. So what do I say to this when shopping seems to be what you want? We are challenged by life, parents, and social differences. Communication has been disrupted majorly, and no one taught us how to think. Oh, yeah, I think Hoopy is getting at why my childhood was rough because it was like that, right? I was thinking, but nobody taught me how to think, right? And I feel like maybe I would be better equipped at this point in my life if I was given proper teachers, right? That, like, for instance, this is my own like adult bias, but I would have loved, like, loved, if my teachers taught me like Stoic philosophy as a child, all right? Like that would have been for me the real teaching that I needed as a child, all right? But no, no. Instead, they told me about the 9 planets, and then later they told me actually there's only 8 planets. Forget about all of that Pluto stuff. Oh. I'm kind of like generalizing and reducing it to something, but legit, I don't know if there was much of use in what they told me. I learned how to read when I was 6. So, like after that, I don't know if they taught me much. And it was my mom who basically taught me how to read as well. So, in that way, I don't know. Did I need school? I think I needed the social exposure at the very least. We have a word for small men who get bigger men to fight their battles melt. It starts with a P. I mean, again, I was the small man, technically, in that situation. Then I'll take that on as well. A person. How yeah, I'm a person. I little peanut butter. Yeah, we call them peanut butter. Yo, henceforth, you'll be known as glasses, jacket, shirt women. Glasses, jacket, shirt women. Yes, from now on, you'll shorten my name to Joe. Shorten my name from Joe to glasses, jacket, shirt. Gotta run for a work meeting. Have a nice one, Mel, Darren, Sam, Hoops, glasses, jacket, shirt, women, and other. Because pants suck. Lamau. Have a good day, Dan. So much love. They actually do, Jovan. Skirts are where it's at. Agreed. I'm basically wearing like skirts that are pretending to be pants. I'm wearing the Southern Indian swooshy pants. Nice. You too? I like that. Where did you get yours? Maybe you can let me know, Hoops. Yeah, it doesn't seem like much coffee. Is it hard to chew all of that? It tastes good, though. Don't at me, dude. If I just drink it, I don't taste it. Nice. I'll fucking chew my coffee if I want to. It's my coffee. I don't actually chew like that. I don't think. It's more like, and this is one of those things you probably don't want to know. It's more like I create a puck of coffee at the center of my mouth, and then I push that puck with my tongue. And then it goes past my tongue, and then it's at the bottom of my mouth, and then I'm okay with swallowing. I've done this since I was a child, and even my mother was like, "You shouldn't do that. It's bad for your teeth," she would say. And I wouldn't listen. Well, if it's bad for my teeth, then why do I like it? We will sit. Was your grandma a floor sitter? She and her husband traveled in their golden years. I think the extended years of physical labor added to her longevity. I mean, if she was doing labor, she must have been standing up and bending down and stuff and like that as well. Everything can be a suppository if you're brave enough. Prairie Wolf understands. He understands. My brain is struggling to say no to visuals today. I'm glad the personal style development is satisfactory. It's satisfactory. I think it could be better. I think that's like one of the things about the human experience is you can always reflect and find ways in which it could have improved. But I still am happy to be here where I am right now. Looking forward to the growth that's still to come. I read that if the item in the chute chills the whole, area, it can cause a vacuum effect to suck them into. My eyes are starting to water. Oh my. I guess they're trying to wash themselves on just what they just saw. You guys know how cursed I'm able to read. No, please keep that position. Thank you, Albert. Squatting opens your vagus nerves. True. True. Yeah, squatting is really good for you. You should squat as many times as you can. Now, today I got my board exam results in grade 10. I got an 89%. Nice. Moon Moon, we're proud of you, friend. Moon Moon has been working hard on his tests, and 89%. That's really good, dude. I'm proud of you, friend. Oh, wait, it's Wednesday. Don't let me know. It is Wednesday. It's true. I will be Wednesdaying soon. We're talking about butts first, Darren. Thank you, Miss Zhao. Hey, homeless guy, you're boring me. Hurry up, do something. Yeah, come on, oh. Come on, homeless person. Why don't you just, like, be entertaining? Right? Like, can you imagine what that homeless person must think about you? It's like, he's like, go and entertain yourself. Oh. Like, I'm entertained enough. Like, I'm a homeless person. I'm like just like staring out into the world or looking at the trees. Like, I am entertained. I don't have to entertain you. What's happening? It's time to eat more coffee and dance. Okay, I thought we were bringing up different stick-like objects. I can't wait. Hey, homeless guy, what's up? Why are you homeless? My house burned down. My whole family died. Their parents blame me. Hold on a second. This is boring. See you later. Combat. Do you smell toast? It's like saying the best invention ain't the pretzel bite. It isn't helpful. Just a lens into an empty life. Says Ace of Rock. Yeah, Ace of Rock has some cool lines. No, just overcooking my toast. Beeholes have chemosensory taste receptors, which is why you can't sense spicy twice in a consumption experience. Y'all are cursed today. I don't know what happened. It's Dan's fault. Everybody blame Dan, right? All of us just collectively points at Dan. Dan. Shame. 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 I don't like when Melt said, for me, the best part is the fact that someone thinks. Did I say that? I did the thought experiment like you said, Mel. You tell me your story, and I say it's boring, and walk away. What's the problem? You seem to be trolling yourself. Maybe I am trolling myself, oh. Maybe I have deep insecurities about being boring. How about that? Have you considered that? Have you considered? Have you thought about that? I'm thinking about it right now. I'm gonna stop thinking about it. Stimulated to wonder. Yeah, Pluto's reclassification is funny because we just realized it didn't fit the planet criteria. It's an icy body, not a full-fledged planet. Yeah, and for me as a kid, I was like, why are you telling me that this is a planet and then telling me that it isn't a planet? Right? Like, I was like really confused about that part. I was like, shouldn't we have like figured this out by now, kind of thing. I love it when Melt reads my comments and you can see him asking himself if I should still be able to participate here. Sometimes I read those comments and I'm like, I think I need the equivalent of a shower for my brain. He could have called it a Margaret Thatcher planet, then no one would have argued. Happy 28th birthday. Thank you, awesome orc. I'm not 28 yet, but I'm close. I'm really close. Like, I'm less than a month away from being 28. Has anyone ever noticed the hue of a planet versus a star? The planet is more white, while the star is slightly blue. I haven't paid attention to that much, but I'm sure. That is true. Awesome. Over here. That's sweet. Birthday is another month away, though, but you're the first one to wish it. It's true. You are the first person to wish me happy birthday this year. Look at you, getting ahead of it. We come, we chat, we do. Hi. Everything about Pluto is a beautiful example of why you should trust science, because when it finds out new information and it tells you why it changed and how they changed, what they made them figure out, and how you can do the same. It's true. Right? Science is only science if it can be proven wrong. Right? That's the cool difference between science and religion. And no, we're not going to have a conversation about that today. But the thing about religion is that we are kind of assuming that those teachings are correct. Right? And they are not to be challenged because they are correct. Where science is there to be challenged because maybe it's not. Right? And in the exploration of what is and isn't true, we should have the freedom to be like, this is actually wrong. And we should not like this. We should like that instead. And then we snack on. And we get better and we get closer and closer, incrementally closer to the truth. Whatever that is. All right. Are you Year of the Tiger, Melt? Yes. I think I am. Prairie Wolf. 1998, I think, was the Year of the Tiger. Hey, Google. What Chinese year was 1998? Yep. Year of the Tiger. That'd be right. Me too? Nice, Prairie Wolf. We tigery people? I don't know what that means, technically. I know that there are some shared understandings about what these things mean. Let me see. What does it mean to be born in the Year of the Tiger? Is there any projections or assumptions, or maybe let's call it patterns, that arises from people born in the Year of the Tiger? I think I'm a rooster. That's pretty cool too. I'm not really sold on the incremental journey, Melt. The truth is the truth. Yeah, I get you. What I'm saying is we're getting closer as a species, incrementally, to the truth. The truth is there, right? It's like we are the ones getting closer to what is true, right? And it takes incremental, especially with science, it takes incremental improvements, right? Sometimes it's big swaths, right, where we take a big old step closer to the truth. However, it takes time. It does take time. What does it mean? What does it mean to be born? In my mind, it's the opening of the eyes of consciousness into life, unencumbered by memory. Is it a weird thing to consider, Hoop? In the next life, there will be no such thing as time. Everything we've ever done here or ever will do is already done there. The concept of future and past is just as illusionary as separation. Joe, when you aren't small enough for the wind to blow around like that, then you aren't small enough for the wind to blow around like that. Rooster. In Chinese astrology, the tiger is the third animal in the zodiac cycle and is widely considered one of the most powerful and dynamic signs. Yeah? Pats myself on my back. Good on me getting born at the right time. Guess there's like 1986 and then 1974 and 1962 and 1950. And the last tigers was 2010 and 2022. It is thought To imbue a person with a specific set of predatory yet noble traits. Yes, blow more smoke up my ass, thank you. Here are the common patterns and characteristics associated with those born in the year of the tiger. Core personality traits. They are adventurous spirits. Tigers, I get called a tiger now? Cool. Tigers are natural risk takers. I can't get much smaller. High adventure. Love is true in there. And maybe you friends can tell me if you resonate, if you like having seen some of me, if you consider any of this to be true. They rarely take the safe path, preferring to forge their own way, even if it's going to make things more difficult. Second, they are innate leaders. They possess a natural authority. People tend to follow tigers because of their confidence and king of the jungle aura, rather than because they demand it. Then there's emotional intensity. Tigers feel things deeply. They are known for being incredibly passionate and romantic, but they can also be prone to quick bursts of temper or intense mood swings. And then there's rebellion. Oh my goodness, I feel so seen. Hey, you look unique. Why is that? Not saying it's bad. I don't know, Coco. I've been looking like this my whole life, I think. I've cut my hair a bunch of times. I've looked a little bit different. I haven't been dressing quite like this my entire existence, I guess, as well. But thank you. Thank you for lending me your eyes so you can see the unique that is me. I hope you know that I am but a reflection, a mirror to the unique that is in you, right? You seeing me unique is probably because you are as well. I'm friends with smaller, aren't we all? Growing that sensitivity, right? We don't need much more. The last trait is rebellion. Tigers typically have a strong distaste for authority and rigid rules. A tiger would rather be the boss of a small venture than a cog in a large, restrictive machine. You seem like a great storyteller. Thank you, Coco. I try. I am still very much in the infancy of my journey of becoming a fantastic storyteller, but I do try. I really do. Right? I think I need to get better at accentuating the fullness of the story in the start of it, right? Give the listener an anchor as to where it is I'm going by the end of it. Because sometimes my stories can be a little bit open-ended. I do try and anchor them at the end with some sort of takeaway, but I am growing. Coco, you want me to tell you a story? What kind of story would you like to know? You can ask me a question, and you can see if you like the way I tell you a story about it. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you. Vyasa was a great storyteller. Love is true. Storytellers are very necessary in our society, right? Way before we were as established as a society as we are right now, we were telling stories, right? The storyteller took on a very important role in our mini cultures and communities. And that storyteller, I feel, has been outsourced to TV shows and music and YouTube videos. But I think it's just as important for us to be able to tell stories as individuals still. Yeah, rebellion. The typical tiger patterns. Within the social aspects, they are magnetic and charming, though they can be fiercely independent and they need plenty of solitary prowling time. You know who I find is a great storyteller? Carlos Santana. I don't think I know Carlos Santana, but I was actually thinking about you, Sam, in talking about storytellers. Bards are a necessity. What is YouTube? Yeah, maybe you should like go and Google it, right? What is YouTube? and then hits the button, brings you right back to this live stream. Work. Tigers are highly ambitious and hardworking when they're inspired, but they lose interest quickly if a task is repetitive or mundane. Man, I feel really like this thing is just like putting it all out on the table right now. Challenges. They are resilient. However, a tiger might face a massive setback, but they will usually land on their feet and come back even stronger. And then there are weaknesses. Here it comes. Seriously, dude, you really need to know Santana, my friend. You can thank me later. I'll have to go and check him out, the Rock Shaman. I do value your input, right? I like your username. I've said this to you before. I do consider myself a rock shaman as well. Most of my teaching has come from the rocks, right? Where I just go and I sit on rocks. And then I spend hours upon hours in that silence. And then the rocks start to speak to me, right? They're not the best storytellers. I have to kind of help them in my own mind, but damn, do they tell. They tell their little stories about their thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years of experience. Santana, Carlos Santana. I might know him. Let's see. Do I know Carlos Santana? Yay. A musician? Santana's Lisdy trip. That sounds fun. I want to watch that video. He looks like a geo. Looks super cool. All right. Weaknesses. Impulsiveness. They often act on instinct before thinking through the long-term consequences. That is probably one of my weaknesses. I'll say that that's probably true. I agree with the solitary thing. YouTube is a tiger. BarbTube. What doesn't know Carlos Santana? I grew up in South Africa, so I think music culture, looking up Santana is like looking up Aerosmith. Who's Aerosmith again? Let me go and look up Aerosmith again, just to trigger some people. The 5 elements context. In Chinese astrology, your personality is also shaped by the element of your specific year. Since you asked about 1998, that was the year of the Earth Tiger. Wasn't I talking about literally at the start of stream when I was asked what was growing up like for me? I go, I was obsessed with the Earth. I was literally like, my brain was like stuck thinking about dirt. I was like, fucking Earth? It's about Earth. So much Earth is happening underneath me all the time. Thinking about the dirt. That's really interesting. Unlike the more erratic water or fire tigers, Earth tigers are generally seen as more grounded. Yes. Practical. Oh, so practical. And level-headed. I can't imagine what the fire and water tigers must be like if this one considers me grounded, practical, and level-headed, right? They must be off their fucking rock. Looks at Prairie Wolf, yeah? Yeah? You off your rocker? I highly recommend that you listen to the album Abraxas by Santana. I'll go have to check it out. I have been on a Angzin Dip with Dream kind of kick where I've been listening to them almost exclusively over and over again, so I probably should break away from it a bit. They still have that tiger ambition, but they're more likely to think things through and stay focused on a long-term goal. Oh yeah. Rather than jumping from one thing to the next. Yeah. This is true. I have been kind of grounded in that way, at least, right? I did ground myself as a young man where I was like, okay, oh, you're crazy. You're not gonna do anything unless you do something. You know what? Oh yes, I'm off my rock. Are you a fire tiger? Fire or water tiger? I'm curious. All right, famous tigers. To see if these patterns resonate, you can look at the tiger energy in famous figures born in these years. There's Christopher Nolan, who is a metal tiger, known for ambition, complex, and bold filmmaking. Then there's Lady Gaga, who was born in 1986. She's a fire tiger, exhibits the classic tiger traits of being a rule breaker and having high intensity creativity. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a wood tiger, shows the tiger's characteristic longevity and intensity in his craft. Very interesting. Something, something, self-sensitivity, right? Water tiger, cool. Having self-sensitivity. It's interesting to see these patterns, right? Can it really have that much to do? The year I'm born, can it really have that much to do with the person that I become? I find it very strange. Very strange that we are affected in this way. All right. If I was more sensitive as a self from earlier on, would I still be as influenced? Would I be less influenced if I was less sensitive? Is it inevitable? Right. Is it inevitable that I will be transformed? That I can arrive here as a soul? Maybe I chose to be born at the exact time that I was born at as a soul, knowing I'm gonna get those traits. Maybe I had those traits as a soul coming into it, but I was like, I guess I have to play along and get born around the time that these kinds of character traits would be most appropriate. It doesn't, but it's fun bullshit to read about. Yeah, it is fun. It's cool to see. It's the same thing with astrology for me, where astrology also has some patterns that arise where you're like, I do kind of see those patterns in me. I think they're pretty vague as well, right? And they're usually flattering as well, right? Most of those, it did talk about my weakness being impulsiveness, and it is right. Like, that is the one weakness I have, but most of the rest of it was flattering, right? Where you want to. I want to believe that I am charismatic and magnetic, and I want to believe that I am a natural leader, and that I have authority, and I want to believe. So in that way as well, there's a sensitivity to self that needs to be there as well, and realizing that, hey, you can tell yourself anything, I need to finish that coffee, and I think I'm gonna get ready to dance. You feel it's time to? It is time for us to dance. I am actually kind of stoked too. I feel I'm ready. I think the coffee is starting to kick in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I need to drink the rest of it though. I still have like half this thing left. And I'm already hot. What comes next will be dance. I'll put up my secondary screen to show you friends what my live heart rate says. How hard am I pushing my body? And then I think we need to get an hour of dancing in. Oh yeah. Sensitivity for the self. What I've been thinking about though is ending this live stream and then starting up a whole extra live stream on Wednesdays just for the dance, right? That way this entire live stream won't get copyright stricken, and only the secondary live stream will be copyright stricken. Can you tell me what you think about that? Right, I'm serious. Tell me. Like, I don't actually like that, Melt. I'm gonna have to go and look for the live stream again. Or, I think that's a good idea, Melt. We can like have it a thing of itself. Do it. Joe is down for doing it. Prairie Wolf is down for doing it too. Sweet, sweet. Okay, I think it's decided. We had 2 duets in chat. However, because we're going to finish off this live stream and then start up the dance one, I think I'll pull a card for you friends. so that we have that like conclusive energy for this live stream. So if somebody tunes in afterwards, you can experience the card pull still, right? You don't have to sit through the dancing before you get to this part of it. Let me shuffle the deck a few times. You can already get ready to tell me to stop. There we go. Pull the 40-second card for giggles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. One we haven't pulled in a while. You crack your back that many times? Yeah. Crack my back all the time, bro. Every time I do a yoga pose that extends myself, my back cracks. Yay. The glue I put on my hair is working. It's working. I can be like, you go here now. Yeah. I am really hot. Like, I think that's the big part that I'm kind of struggling with right now. And I don't know how I'm going to deal with glue. Yeah. It's this, like, these bottles. They come in, like, around, and then they have one of these spouts that kind of, like, goes sideways. I think it's like, the product is called, like, wood glue or something like that. 42 hair glue dabs and back cracks later. 42 hair glue dabs and back cracks later. Oh my god, lol dream. That is kind of funny. That was one of them good hoopy lines. Okay. All right. Asparagus hands. Apsaras hands. Look at those. It has that circular geometry. You see them circles? Circles in circles in circles. And hands like flowers. Hands and flowers. Flowers and hands and stars and flowers and hands and flowers and stars. All of those hands are so strange. "42 shirt pulls, card pulls, and dance moves. Let's go." Soon we will dance, but first we will read about completion. AI hands does have a little bit of AI hands. AI Sarah's hands. Completion and achievement. Rorschach hands. Achievement and completion. Graceful, playful, female deities called Apsaras are found sculpted everywhere throughout the great temple complex at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. 9 exaggerated hand moves borrowed from the captivating sculptures complement the image of pink water lilies that fill a pond facing the famous temple. 9 is the number of completion. The achievements of the ancient Khmer culture are undeniable. 3 circles offer a sense of wholeness as you contemplate the completion of this chapter of your life. You have accomplished much and realized success in the achievement of your purpose. As you approach the conclusion of this phase, honor the work you have completed and the decisions that have brought you to this moment. It is time now to expand your vision and choose a new path. Each life is filled with beginnings and endings. Even our highest aspirations find completion. Life continues in a manner that is not always predictable, yet with an attitude of flexibility and a sense of adventure, you will see that new horizons and fresh opportunities are always available. Look to your future with optimism and hope. Look to your future with optimism and hope, knowing that magic and new horizons are just around the corner. Just around the corner. I don't know if I pulled it upside down. I don't think I did. I just chugged the whole water bottle. I'm happy that you got some water in. Be sure to stay hydrated. All those who are watching, thank you. Dragon Trainer, you're right. I've actually woke up feeling a little bit dehydrated myself this morning, so that's good advice. Shan Hands, that's nice. We talked about Shan recently, actually, as well. Miss that friend. As you resist completion, you diminish what you have accomplished. Ease into the knowing that everything is temporary and that endings beget new beginnings. That's kind of cool that we decided to end this stream and then begin another one for the dance that's going to come afterwards. Do see me soon. I'm going to start it up as fast as I can. Like literally drop this one and then start it right up again, and then I'll carry you friends over with me. I'm going to end this live stream. Subscribe. I'm going to start a whole other live stream a second from now. Goodbye. Have a good one. Love your friends. Thank you for joining me for this one. I'll see you in the very next.